Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Hub back into the video day, and today the Dallas Mavericks beat the Los Angeles Clippers 123 to 123 to 93. And did I say beat? Because I really meant they crushed the Los Angeles Clippers. I mean, if I guess when I said beat, it might have been meaning the fact that they gave them a whooping tonight, an actual beating. I mean, they pounded the Clippers tonight. I mean, I think it's definitely embarrassing for the Clippers, potentially, that season might come to that. You're going back to Dallas now. You got to win in Dallas. Then you got to go back home and then get a win in Los Angeles. I really don't think LA has a great chance to win this series, to be honest. I mean, they didn't play their best basketball in Dallas. They were 1-1 in Dallas. Got blown out in Game 3. In Game 4, they got off to a 31-point lead and blew a 31-point lead for Dallas to take like a 1 or 2 point lead. Yes, I know they won, but when you blow a 31-point lead, I think it played a big role in why Dallas was so dominant in this game. Not only does it probably take the Clippers' confidence down that they blow a lead that large, but it also, even if we're going to talk about confidence, it probably builds this Dallas Mavericks team's confidence up so much. And I think a big factor in this game for the Dallas Mavericks and Luka Doncic is when you see a player, a real superstar like Luka Doncic, struggle the way he did in Game 4. Game 4. Is that right? Yeah, Game 4 in Dallas, with how bad he played. And look, Kyrie Irving stepped up. He's stepped up this whole series. And now you kind of saw today Kyrie stepped off to the side and didn't play so good. I wouldn't say he played terrible, but he kind of let Luka took over the reins. When you're a true superstar and you see a guy like Kyrie Irving, who I think had a 40-point performance the other night on Sunday in Dallas, as a true superstar, the next game you're going to go out there and you're gonna play your best basketball. And I know I was watching Inside the NBA after this game. I mean, honestly, I want to credit these guys on Inside the NBA: Chuck, Kenny, Chuck, Shaq, Kenny, Ernie. I mean, because the two games tonight, you got the Clippers and the Mavericks. It's a 30-point outcome. It's Dallas crushing the LA 123 to 93, and then you got the Celtics and the Heat 118 and 84. I mean, not only having to watch these games, but then having to talk about these two games for an hour. I know they made it a little bit interesting, but I know, at least for me, after watching two blowouts like that, and totally, I'm like, I just watched two terrible games. Watching them makes it feel so much better because they're so funny. And something I wanted to bring up that Shaq said, which is why I brought up what I brought up about Luka, is that, and they were talking about, they brought this up about multiple players. It was about Luka, and it was also about Joel Embiid. What they thought Joel Embiid would go out there and do tomorrow in Game 6 after Maxey played such a good game. But the thing that Shaq said is that when he ever played in the playoffs, and he was having a bad game, he wasn't playing great, he wasn't doing what he should have been doing out there, and there was another player on the team that stepped up, another star, whether it was Kobe or was someone else, that the next game he would go out there and do his best to play his best basketball. And that's what Shaq said when talking about Joel Embiid making a bounce back after Tyrese Maxey's 46-point performance in Game 5. So, and then, they talked about that with Luka and Kyrie as well. And Luka played great. He had 35 points, 10 assists, 7 rebounds. He was fantastic. And another thing I want to know is why I don't believe in the Clippers at all is the fact that when a series, this is 100% true. when a series is in a 2-2 tie and 81% of the time, the winner of Game 5, when the series is tied at 2 apiece, wins the series 81% of the time. So there's only, I guess I could say there's only 19% chance for the Clippers to win this series. And another thing I want to bring up before I get into the stats of this game is that this also really, unless LA wins this next game, was the last game the Los Angeles Clippers would play at Crypto.com, or you want to call it Staples Center. LA played for both stadiums, as they're going to be moving into their new arena next season, which is, oh my God, such an amazing arena. I mean, as a Rockets fan, it makes me want to travel to Los Angeles, where I've never been, to just go to a game. I like, whenever the Rockets potentially might go to the Clippers, I'm just thinking about potentially going to one of those games if I could do that. I mean, that stadium's amazing. I mean, so, but yeah, that could have been tonight could have been their last game in that arena, and for their last game in that arena to potentially get lost, lose by 30 points is definitely embarrassing. All right, so Luka at 35, 10 and 7 went over that. After that, I mean, scoring, Maxi Kleber was big off the bench, 15 points, 3 rebounds, shot 5 for 7 from 3. Kyrie had 14 with 6 assists. Jaden Hardy got some bench minutes, and man, Jaden Hardy, he came in. The Mavericks, the other guys that got some minutes in this game, AJ Lawson, Dwight Powell, Dante Exum, whoever else was on the floor, they knew Jaden Hardy was going to be getting the ball every possession. 5 for 8, 2 for 4, 14 points, 1 assist. If this rotation wasn't deep enough for the point, you got guys off the bench like Maxi Kleber, Derek Lively II, Josh Green, and Dante Exum who are getting minutes in this rotation. Jaden Hardy's the next in line who should potentially be getting minutes. He's definitely a tough scorer, but it's definitely unfortunate that he is not playing, but he is a really nice player. 12 points for Derek Lively II, 7 rebounds. He was big in this game for Dallas. 5 for 5 as well. 2 for 2 at the free throw line. And 12 points for Derek Jones Jr. as well. Only 10 points combined from Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, but they only played a combined 49 minutes. James Harden, this is interesting. After being so good in the first 4 games of the series, I have said as a Rockets fan in the other games, when talking about the other games in this series, the fact that I kept saying, where was this for James when we were in the playoffs and we were fighting all those postseasons? And I was wondering when this James was going to show up. And I think Tyronn Lue said something like, asked about James' struggles, and he said it was just, he was just human. I mean, honestly, James played so well to the point where if he had an off game, it's fine. I mean, right? But this was more than an off game, in my opinion. This was a terrible game. I mean, maybe if he only had, let's say, in the area of, I'm going to give him in the area of 13 to 17, 18 points. Then you look at it, and it may be a bad shooting night. Then I look at it as potentially, that's all right. He had an off game, but, he has been great in the past. But this was not that. James had a triple single tonight. 7 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 for 12, 1 for 7 from 3. Terrible. And then Paul George on the end, 15 points, 11 rebounds, 4 for 13, 2 for 6 from 3. I mean, you can tell these guys miss Kawhi. They need Kawhi bad, not only offensively with James and Paul's struggles, but also defensively, giving up 123 points. That 123 points would not be given up if Kawhi Leonard was out there and healthy. That is 100% sure. I don't care how good Luka Doncic is playing. The Mavs are not giving up the Clippers are not giving up 123 points without Luka. Without if they had Kawhi Leonard. So Paul had 15, Harden had 7, Zubac had 15 and 6, Terrence Mann had 11 points, 3 points for Amir Coffey, and who else am I missing? 11 points for Bones Highland, another guy, just like Jaden Hardy, took advantage of getting those minutes, 3 assists as well, 3 for 5, 1 for 3. The bench warmers, they were putting on a show at the end of this game, and 14 points for Norman Powell. Look, I'm going to talk about adjustments for the Clippers in this next game, in this next matchup. And I think it starts with Bones Highland, to be honest. 7 minutes. When you get blown out like this, in a Game 5, the next game is elimination game, you know there's going to be changes that are made. And I'm looking at guys like P.J. Tucker and Bones Highland. And I couldn't imagine cutting Russell Westbrook out of the rotation in a playoff series. But after Russ goes 2 for 11 with 6 points, and Bones gets 7 minutes and puts up 11 points, and then here's a guy who P.J. Tucker plays good defensively, knocks down a 3 in his only shot. When you get blown out in a game like that in the postseason, and it's bad, when you bring in the guys who normally don't play, those guys those minutes are important to a team who's losing, because at the same time you're getting your ass kicked, you're also studying what changes you could potentially make rotation-wise for the next matchup. And I think P.J. Tucker and Bones Highland, if you're Tyronn Lue, definitely have to be looking at those two guys potentially getting minutes. But at the same time, you already have a couple guys who are getting minutes beforehand. You had Mason Plumlee, Russell Westbrook, and you also had Norman Powell getting minutes. So here's the change I would do if I was Tyronn Lue. Amir Coffey, I really haven't seen what he's done in this series. Cut Amir Coffey off of the rotation. Bring Norman Powell into the starting lineup. And then off the bench, you give more minutes to P.J. Tucker and Bones Highland. You continue to give Russ and Mason Plumlee minutes, and that is the rotation I would go with. Norman Powell's played good enough to start, even though he usually comes off the bench. I would start Norman Powell over Amir Coffey. Don't play Amir Coffey at all. He just shot 1 for 6. And then give minutes to P.J. Tucker and Bones Highland off the bench for what they were able to do at the end of the game. You got to make adjustments after getting blown out by 30 points, and then you're headed into elimination game. Adjustments must be made. Those are the adjustments I think you have to make potentially going into this Game 6. Let me know your thoughts on this game in the comment section, and peace out.